Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Grace, and in this video, as you can see by the title, I have compiled 13 real tarot questions, not some kind of artificial construct to show off all my decks, or not some kind of artificial construct to rate or categorize all my decks. No. Here I just want to talk about tarot. And I'm happy if even one person comes along for this ride, because this is the kind of content I'm creating content that I want to watch. Put it this way. All right. Number one is, what is tarot to you? Okay. So, and I'll just answer the questions. So for number one, tarot has always been a compass. This is my compass. This is how I use it. It is my compass to navigate life. It's my compass to navigate the different worlds, the spirit world versus the earthly plane. It is primarily my compass. Secondly, this is a communication device. It is a communication device to communicate with myself, to communicate with my environment, and to communicate with the spirit world, whether it be spirits of people that I knew in life or otherwise. So primarily, it is a compass and a communication device to me. It is also the book of life. The tarot depicts every condition, every condition of a person's life. It is the external symbolism of things that, as human beings, the human experience, right? Things that we will experience, but not just the human experience, also the spiritual experience. And I, being someone who firmly believes that we are spirits having a human experience, hence again, a compass, a communication device. Number two, do you read for yourself? And then the second part of that is, do you read for others? I primarily read for myself in the last couple of years. Prior to that, I read for myself. I always read for myself primarily. And I read for people close to, the first 10 years was for people close to me, friends, family, acquaintances. And then after about 10, 13 years of doing that, I began to read for the general public and charging money for it. Tarot for me is an excellent compass and communication device and a tool for when I provide readings for other people. I am not only experienced in tarot, but I also have a degree in spiritual counseling that is separate from my healthcare professional degree. And I find tarot to be an invaluable tool when communicating with people in that setting, when I'm, providing readings for the general public. For myself, I find tarot to be really helpful, again, as a mirror. So I didn't mention in the first one, but it's also a mirror. It mirrors back to me my inner world. And that is typically what I use it for, to read for myself. Number three, with what frequency do you read for yourself? So this is just about yourself. It's very interesting. I'm not going to say that I've been reading for myself with the frequency of daily for the last, I'm sorry, I can't do math, since 1986. What I can tell you is that I've taken long breaks. In the first 10 years of reading tarot, I took a little bit of a break. I probably, out of the first 10 years that I've been reading tarot, I probably took 3 years off, which incidentally coincides with a relationship that ended the second I picked up my tarot deck again. Like, it's like I was navigating blind without my compass. And then after that, when my children were little, there was just not enough time. So, there's been pockets of time when I did not consult my tarot daily. But overall, I read for myself at least once a week, just to take the temperature of the week. And it can also be daily, depending on how I'm feeling. If I'm needing to explore further, if I'm needing clarification on clarification on situations, clarity on situations. So that is, for me, it's just part of my life. It's not just a divination practice. What kinds of readings do you do? Well, as I stated in the answer to the previous question, I do bare minimum a weekly draw, where I have a deck I have dedicated to my altar, to that space and to that purpose, where I will draw one card a week. And it gives me the temperature of the week, the energetic temperature of the week, the energetic weather report. Being from the culture that I am, we always viewed cartomancy as looking for, checking for warnings. So that is part of my weekly draw, is my weekly one card draw. Sometimes it's more than one card, especially, if there's something that's not clear or something worrisome. It's to check for warnings. This is also, I probably should have mentioned that in the first question. This is also, it's a compass, it's a communication device. It's also a safety device. And it's just because of how it's been in my life for so long, and the context in which it was brought into my life. So what kinds of readings do I do? So I do the one card for the week. If I'm going to grab my cards, the most common reading I do is 3 cards, but it's not a set spread. It's not the past, present, future. For the most part, it's open to interpretation. It's open to the story the cards want to tell. I will not read them left to right specifically. I don't necessarily read right to left, middle. It's whatever draws my attention first, and then it's almost like a light goes on. And I will look at the first card where the light goes on for me, let's say, and then the next one, and then these two in relation to each other, and then maybe these two in relation to each other. It's very, so that's the 3-card reading. When I read for the general public, I've mentioned it before, I prefer to do a set 12-card spread, which is the astrological houses, because I find that gives a really good overview of the individual, the querent, and how their question applies to every aspect of their being. Number 5. What do you typically consult the tarot for? I consult the tarot for everything. Now, so let me explain. So I will consult the tarot for the mundane, the arcane, the sacred, and the profane. I consult the oracle, in quotation marks, the tarot, for everything. That does not mean that the tarot tells me like what to do and that's what I do. I don't look to tarot to tell me what to do. I look to tarot to show me the outcome if I continue on the path. So if I take the question, whatever the question is, the scenario, the situation, I will take it to tarot and I will say, show me the outcome if I continue on this path as I have been. Then I will draw a card. So I would draw one card for that. Then I will take to the tarot the next question. Show me the outcome if I change this one variable. And I will draw a card and it will be for that variable. I will, and then I will think of another variable. So here I am, I'm drawing cards to see different outcomes. And then my final question, once I've exhausted my imagination of the possible variables I can change in order to attain my goal, because I do use tarot for goal setting. Obviously, if I'm using it as a compass, obviously I probably should have specified that at the very last question I ask, what is the outcome if I do absolutely nothing and just let the situation ride? And sometimes I'll journal about it. Most of the time I just make a note. Make a note in my day timer. On such and such a day, I asked a question about such and such a situation. And if I change this variable, this is the outcome. If I change this other variable, this is the outcome. If I add this other variable, this is the outcome. And if I leave it, and if I just leave it as it is, this is the outcome. And that's it. And then I carry on with my life. What type of reader, so I know we're at number 6, what type of reader do you classify yourself as? So are you a by-the-book reader? Are you I've memorized all the meanings of the cards and and that's how I read the cards. So I consider that to be figurative. Or are you an experiential reader where you look at the images and how they relate, how they tell a story, how they relate to each other, and how and what pops in your imagination when you're looking at these images together. Some people call it intuitive reading. I find that intuition doesn't quite work for me as a word. Because I'm a person who, when I am engaging with tarot, I'm engaging with the spirit world. For me, it's beyond, it's not intuition. It's not what I'm intuiting. It's either a psychic message I'm receiving, or it's experiential because, after decades of reading tarot, there's certain combinations. I see them together and I know exactly what that is. I've seen it before. And so for me, it's by the book is not at all it. And figurative is not really my style, where I would, I can't look at this and I wouldn't say to someone, victory will come swiftly when you leave the situation you're in. So, you know what I mean? Although that could be the case here, but it's always in relation to the querent's question and concern and the context. For me, context is everything. So here, this is where I'm going to just go on a bit of a tangent. If you want, to get the best reading, you have to be clear with your question, your concern. You have to be forthright with the person you consult who is giving you the reading. You need to tell them what's going on. So that's why it's, it's a position of, it's a vulnerable position for the querent, and there's a certain amount of trust, or there's a certain amount of trust that's put into the reader, right? And it's a very intimate, having your cards read is very intimate, and it's very private, and it's very personal, which is why I prefer not to read in a public place for people. And if that's the case, then it's just one question readings. But I'm not going to get into deep philosophical, explorations with a querent in a busy store. You know what I mean? But that everybody does what they want. I don't do that. If I'm going to do that, there's got to be privacy. It can't be, because tarot does uncover, because it's the book of life. It's our human experiences depicted. And there's some personal and intimate shit, man, that comes up when you're doing a tarot reading for someone. So there's my tangent. I classify myself as both a psychic reader and an experiential, literal card reader, meaning that I've seen, I know these images. I have experience on how they align with each other and how they communicate with each other. I've learned new language since watching tarot videos about, directional and all this stuff. I don't read any tarot books. I don't. I mentioned before, they're boring as hell to me. And tarot for me is 100% experiential, whether it's tarot or any other kind of cartomancy. I can't read someone could write a book about it, and that's great. I'm not going to get anything out of a tarot book. Out of a book about tarot. I don't get much out of guidebooks either when it comes to tarot. And I'm talking real tarot, not whatever bullshit made up tarot decks that exist out there. I'm talking about, the occult decks, the esoteric decks, the ones that follow the tarot tradition of the meanings, the major arcana and the courts and all that stuff. Okay, I lost myself in my own questions. What else is new? 7, what kinds of questions do you take to your tarot? I take them all. There are no questions that are out of bounds for me when it comes to tarot. In my personal tarot readings, I take everything to the tarot. Now, I probably need to explain. To the tarot, I take the question. That doesn't mean that I understand the answer, and that doesn't mean that, but I will take yes or no questions to the tarot. That is, and people often ask me, well, how, time questions, yes or no questions. People have written books about it, and they'll say, well, here's some methods to get a yes or no answer from tarot. And it's usually mechanical. It has nothing to do with reading the signs. And that doesn't help me. It's like you make 3 piles of tarot cards. If they're all upright, it's a yes. If they all are down, reversed, it's a no. If some are upright, some are reversed, it's a maybe and all that stuff. That stuff doesn't work for me at all. I have to read the signs, and that tells me if it's a yes or a no. I take questions about everything, about life, about death, about the afterlife. For me, there's never been, since my very beginning with cartomancy, there's never been questions that were out of bounds. When it comes to reading for other people, that's different. I'm a highly ethical individual, and but I also understand that when they go for a reading, they need some help. And it takes a certain level of maturity and finesse to be able to rephrase a question that a person has, in order to obtain an answer for them that is helpful. I'm going to leave the ethics up to the individual reader, but I will go a little deeper into the weeds. I will go a little deeper into the cave with questions because of experience, because I have experience and because I have training in spiritual counseling. I don't feel, but when it comes to questions about health, I will consult regarding health, but it will just be looking for warnings. Remember how I said when I do the weekly draw, I'm looking for warnings? I would just look for warnings. And typically that occurs just organically in a reading when I do. That's why I do the 12 house spread, astrological spread, because Virgo is the 6th house is the house of health. And I will, pay extra attention to see if there's a warning there. I don't diagnose. I don't even diagnose in my professional life. I don't diagnose. I don't prescribe. I don't tell people to go see a naturopath and have their hair tested and all kinds of bullshit like that. I don't tell people they need a Reiki treatment. I don't tell people, no. I will tell people that there's a little warning here about your health. You might want to consult your family doctor, get some blood work done. Usually it's, I'll always tie it into something so that the person doesn't leave me ungrounded, because that's full of shit. Nobody should do that. Where I will tell them, it's most likely from what I see in your reading related to this financial stress that you're under. It's not unusual. I wouldn't be too concerned, but it doesn't hurt to check it out. That kind of stuff. So I will go everywhere with questions, everywhere. But again, it's because I'm highly experienced that I know how far I could go, and because I'm trained, I know how to communicate it. But that's not the case with every person you would, any random person you would go see for a reading. So what I'm trying to say is that if you're going as a querent somewhere, if I were to give advice, I'm going to go on a tangent now. The best advice I have for people who want to get a tarot reading, who want to have a tarot reading, is find someone who is experienced, and then, to be brutally honest, learn how to read for yourself. I've always been a big proponent of teaching people how to read for themselves over coming to see me once a month, kind of thing. And that's a tangent. All right. So I take them all to the tarot. But when I read for myself, absolutely. When I read for others, I take them all. They're reworded. Sometimes they're redirected. For instance, someone comes to see me and they want to know when their husband's going to die. Well, of course, I'm not going to tell them, oh, your husband's going to die in this year. Then it would be more redirecting. Okay, what's going on? Talk to me about your concerns. Talk to me about what you're worried about. And you know what I mean? It's, maybe you don't know what I mean. I hope you do, but where it's redirecting the attention, redirecting the question, trying to find out the crux of the matter. What is it that the person is preoccupied with? What question can I ask? What question can I take to the tarot that will help and support them? Number 8, what questions do you never ask tarot? So I just finished telling you that I ask tarot everything. For me, I ask tarot everything. But I lied. There's one question I will never ask tarot. When will I die? Like, why would I want to do that? Like, what am I? You know, that's just craziness. But I was really sick. I was really ill in 2019. I think I brought it up numerous times, where my readings are telling me that I was skating pretty close to tripping into the other side, man. And like, I had quite a brush with death, and I still didn't ask because, well, I didn't have to. It was warning me. So yeah, I also don't typically, I won't ask when someone else is gonna die. It's like, you know, the same thing. I don't ask when someone's gonna be born, right? These are the part of the mysteries of life. You never know exactly when someone's gonna be born, even if it's by cesarean section. And you never know exactly when someone is going to die, even if it's medically assisted. So, all right, that took a turn. Okay. Number 9. Who do you think you are engaging with, speaking to, or being, you know, or is speaking to you when you read tarot? I often wonder what other people think. What other people think about this. So I'm looking forward to your answer, to all your answers to these questions. Those of you who choose to participate. Who's talking to you? Who are you talking to? Because I view, going back to the first question, this as a compass and a communication device. So start with a compass and a mirror. It's a mirror. When I engage with the tarot, I'm having a conversation primarily with myself, especially, like, I'm going to just talk about reading for myself right now. I am engaging in a conversation with myself, and depending on what it is I'm taking to the tarot in terms of questions, in terms of concerns, I also am communicating with spirits. I'm communicating with people that I know, spirits of people that I knew in life on this earthly plane, spirits that I didn't know in life, whether they be guardian spirits, guide spirits, guardian spirits, guide spirits, ancestors, and so on. I also, who else do I think, or what else or who else do I think is coming through? The spirit of place is coming through. So if I'm doing a reading, or I'm trying to, I live in an area where summers are a little trepidatious. We have wildfires, and I will communicate with the spirit of place to see, when I say, a weather report, like I use tarot to, to predict the weather and stuff like that. I also use tarot to communicate with the spirit of place, and the spirit of place will communicate to me if the fires are close, if there's danger, if there's storms or anything like that. So when I engage with tarot, and because my belief system is such that even inanimate objects are have spirit, are alive, well, have spirit, I'm also engaging with the spirit of the actual object, the deck. And it doesn't matter to me in the moment when when I'm reading, when I'm doing a reading, it doesn't matter to me whose voice it is. Like, I don't stop and I don't start to obsess about, okay, was that the spirit of place or was it? No, because I set the parameter by the sheer type of the question that I'm asking. The subject matter will dictate will inform who will reply to my query. Oh, look, that's my list. Yeah, see, you just saw the behind the scenes. So number 10, what other knowledge, experience do you apply to tarot readings? I apply, so to tarot, I will apply astrology, because astrology was my gateway metaphysical science, so to speak, or metaphysical art. So I apply astrology, numerology, religion, to psychology, like to a degree psychology. But psychology is more applicable in my the delivery of my reading and how I communicate with the querent. And also for goal setting, when I'm reading for myself, goal setting, like psychology comes into play there, because what I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to decipher what are my blockages, where do I self-sabotage, and that kind of stuff, depending on what, the concern is that I'm taking to the tarot. But other knowledge and experience that I take to the tarot is also religion, and whichever, it's, again, there's the religion I was born and raised in, but also I did study world religions, comparative religions and stuff like that. So I'm able to also see that in the tarot. And okay, I don't want to drift into the next question. So, that's, so my knowledge of color, I'm a Reiki master, my knowledge of color, chakras, don't tell me, okay, yeah, side note, the tarot does not align with the chakras at all. You could tell me all you want, and you can show me all the tarot decks that claim to be aligned with the chakras. They do not align. Okay, period. But colors align elementally. Colors align mystically. Colors align ethnically and historically. So, but not chakras. Don't mix them up together. They don't align. They don't work. Okay, that was a bit, maybe it was a little aggressive. Don't care. All right. Number 11. Tarot is the book of life. Where in your world / life do you witness tarot? So this is the book of life, the human experience, and the spirit, both the human and the spiritual experience. An example of where I would see tarot in life is I will meet someone and instantly I will get to know them, and I will read their energy, their personal energy, and know immediately that they are a King of Wands. And King of Wands energy is very expansive, and it's very expansive. It's very it's Sagittarian, and it's very active versus receptive. And again, Now, I was brought up by people, like when I learned cartomancy, is that we assigned male, female, and personalities and hair color and all that stuff to cards, but I don't read like that anymore. I look to active, receptive, expansive, and all, and all that stuff. So I will see tarot in people. I will also see it in omens in nature, because nature is very big in my worldview, in my magical practice, and in my spiritual practice. I will witness things in nature and apply them to tarot, the art of tarot, or, the numerology and element. I read very elementally, whether it's omens, because I'm very tied, I'm very connected to nature. So everything I do is through the lens, is through an elemental lens. And if I am driving to work and I am, on a mountain highway, and there's roadkill, I'm paying attention to the animal that's on, that's on the ground, that's on, on the road. And right away it'll click whether that animal is with the element they're associated with, how many of the same I saw. And I already got, it's just all, for me, it's a tapestry. It's all interwoven, that I cannot extract one from the other. So another example would be birds flying, right? It's like if I see a pair of ravens and they're flying away versus one raven sitting on a lamppost, you know what I mean? Two of swords, ace of swords. Maybe that raven sitting on the lamppost is not the ace of swords because of something else that I see in the surroundings. So tarot for me is, these are cards, but tarot for me goes beyond just reading cards. This is, for me, tarot is a way of life. It's a world view. It's being able to go into going into a negotiation, a business negotiation, and being able to identify the different archetypical forces at, in play, and being able to either compete or complement depending on what's necessary. Tarot is, tarot for me exists whether I have cards or not. I am so steeped in tarot that it's with me, and it's in the stories I tell, it's in the problem solving I do, it's in the examples I give when I'm teaching, it's it's in the analogies that I use when I'm teaching, etc. Number 12. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're almost there. Onashev. All right. Have you experienced tarot? Have you ever experienced tarot predicting the future? And how did you feel when it came to pass? Me personally,